Welcome to the Mentally Whole podcast. I am your host, Lauren Green. This podcast is a safe place for us to have weekly discussions about mental health, Christ, personal development, and the tools to live our best lives. Please stay tuned for a new episode. Recording now. So, welcome to the Mentally Whole podcast. I am your host, Lauren Green, and we have a special guest today, my friend, Jessica. And we are talking about her journey with therapy. But before we get started, we have a few icebreaker questions.
Okay.
I like those. So what is your favorite song right now?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I could really say it.
I mean, you can say it.
It's the only song I think about. WAP. I'm just gonna put it out there. WAP.
I mean, WAP is a good song. I just only listen to it like once. It's a little.
Get everybody up.
It's a little lit. I mean, I like the beat. I do like the beat. I enjoy it.
I'm not too crazy about the lyrics, but it make you move a little bit.
Yeah, the lyrics they do a little too much, but But it's Cardi and Meg. It's not like I'm not too surprised. So
if it's not WAP, anything Trey Songz.
Trey Songz.
Yes.
Does he have new music?
He's coming out with something. He has this new song. I want to say it's called Circles or something, but I like his old stuff. So that's always in rotation for me.
Yeah, I love Trey. I haven't listened to him in a while though, but Trey is good.
Mm-hmm.
I like Trey. The next question is, what is your favorite food?
Anything sweet, sugary, cheesecake cookies.
Ooh.
Cereal.
Cheesecake cookies. Ooh.
Yes, cheesecake cookies. But if I had to choose between like cheesecake cookies and cereal, I would choose cereal all day, every day, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
What kind of cereal?
All the sugary stuff, Fruit Loops, frosted flakes, Sugar Smacks, Captain Crunch, all that.
Yeah, I don't eat cereal like that. So, I mean, I do, but it's not like every day. Like I have to have it. I just don't eat cereal like that no more.
I don't buy it as much because I try to watch like my carb intake. So I just leave that on the shelf right there over there in the grocery store. Keep it moving.
And our last question is, what is your favorite animal?
Cat. Hands
down. Okay.
I don't have a cat, but I grew up with them and I absolutely love them. And my time on Instagram and Facebook is probably cat videos.
Yeah, I follow a couple of foster kitten pages and they like foster cats and it's amazing.
Yeah.
They help them back. They help them get back to help them get well and stuff. And I'm like, oh, save the cats.
Yeah, I feel like most people should follow pages like that so they can get like a better outlook on cats because most people just don't like cats.
I mean, they get a bad rap. They scratch stuff.
Not on purpose.
They scratch, and sometimes they do. Sometimes they do because they feel like it.
They're emotional.
They're emotional.
You don't call it emotional.
They are. So our first question. So we're continuing the series of therapy tales where I highlight people who have been to therapy. And I think we should talk about therapy because people don't talk about it enough. Like they just don't.
There's been more talk about it lately.
Yes, in the last couple of years, it's been like a uphill of like, let's talk about therapy and mental health. But when we first started out in mental health, no one was really talking about it. So I think you were the first person that I know that was my age that was going to therapy on a regular. Yeah, girl, I know I was going to therapy.
You really thought I was something wrong with Jessica.
Anybody was going. We had stuff going on, but we just ain't go to therapy. Like
that young, right?
We should have went. We should have went to therapy.
With your girlfriend, it was like, all right, I'm good now.
But we should have went. We should have went to therapy and saw a professional, not like oh, let's go turn up every night. Like, no.
Mm-hmm.
So how long did you go to therapy?
2 years, a little over 2 years.
Oh,
And then I got kicked out.
you got kicked out.
No, so we terminated the sessions. That's
I mean, that sounds like our therapist though, because she did the same thing to me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was like,
Uh-huh.
it's kind of like time for you to go. And I was like, oh,
Oh, are you sure?
yeah. She
You
was like,
sure I progressed?
yeah. She was like, it's time for you to go. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, a little over 2 years. Yeah, 2 years.
So what was your, I guess, mindset like when you started therapy?
Oh, I'd say that I just I just thought I could get through it on my own.
Yeah.
You know, like you talk to your friends, this will
Mm-hmm.
pass. I actually had a friend in therapy and I'm like, she doesn't seem to be getting better, so why should I go to therapy?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like that's not helping you. It's not going to help me. I'm just going to try to get through this on my own. But it wasn't. It wasn't working. What I was doing wasn't working.
Yeah. I feel like that's a theme though in our community. Like we'll just get through it, or we'll just
Mm-hmm.
talk to our parents or whoever we trust, and that's it. And sometimes that works. Like I'm not knocking it because it does work, but sometimes it doesn't work
A
at
lot
all.
of times it doesn't.
Yeah, because sometimes they be giving weird advice
I was
and
about to say that, like some of the stuff that your homegirls tell you is just like, you told me that and I listened to you.
it's weird advice sometimes, and I'm just like, I don't know if I should listen to that. But what made you, like, what event made you start to go to therapy? Like, what was the turning point where you were like, I need to go to therapy?
So for me, it was I had just got out of a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
a 4 or 5 year relationship with this guy I had been with since like the end of high school.
Yeah.
So 18 all the way through undergrad, we were together, and then it was up and down, a lot of ups, a lot of downs,
Mm-hmm.
and we had broken up like the last year.
Yeah.
Um, And I was doing fine. Like 6 months out of the breakup, like I had got a new job. At that job, we were working at Advantage.
Yeah.
Um, and everything was good, but it's like I started to crash and
Mm-hmm.
I was crying all the time. I was upset. Like I was just constantly replaying everything. Like maybe you could have did this, you could have did
Mm-hmm.
that. And I started isolating.
Yeah.
I was diabetic at the time, so I was just my diet was out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up going to therapy because of that. But after a friend, the same person I told you who I was like, it's not working for you,
Yeah.
decided to go after she kind of pushed me to go. And I'm glad that I did because her process was different. And I know that now. But I'm glad I took the chance and went when I did.
Yeah, I think everybody's process is different in therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes people just don't listen to what their therapist says. So there's that.
You know that very well.
Or they're just not ready to tell, their full truth in therapy. Like they'll talk about some stuff, but not everything.
Not all of it. I was an open book. Like
I
I think
know you're like an open book with me.
I feel like to a certain extent I'm an open book, and that can be good and bad, or
Yeah.
sometimes you have to kind of turn that down. But I was an open book, and I just wanted to feel better.
Mhm.
I just wanted to feel better, and I was giving it a shot. That was the first time I knew a therapist was a social worker.
Mhm.
First time I only saw therapists on TV. What's
Yeah.
that show? That movie with Will Smith? He was like a love therapist. I don't know.
Oh, Hitch.
Hitch.
Yeah, Hitch.
Or
Yeah.
I don't know if he was a therapist, but I never knew about therapists
Yeah.
at all. So it was a gamble for me, but I took it, and
I mean, it was a good gamble. Sometimes we got to take good risk sometimes.
And I sought a Black woman. I specifically wanted a Black woman. So when my friend told me about it, I said, "Is she Black?" And she was like, "Yes." So I was like, "Ding ding."
Yes, because we love our therapist, because we had the same therapist, and I loved her.
I referred you to her?
Yeah.
You said that earlier. I was like, I referred her.
So this is like a random story. So I was looking for a therapist, and I was on Therapy for Black Girls, and she's on there, and I was like, why does she look? Yeah, and I was like, why does she look so familiar? Like, why do I know this name? Like, I kept looking at her name, like, why do I know this name from somewhere? And then I had texted you, like, hey, was this your therapist? And you were like, yeah, girl, she's great.
Girl, I forgot because I referred 4 people total, and out of the 4 people, 3 of you all went to her.
Yeah, she was like, oh yeah, and then I was like, oh, so and so referred me. She's like, oh, I love her. Like, but yeah, I had text you, and you were like, yeah, that's my therapist, and I was like, that's why her name looks so familiar.
She's amazing.
Because you had actually gave me her card back when we worked at Advantage.
Okay.
I just never used it when we were at Advantage. That's why I was like, why does her name look so? I know that was a long time ago too. But I was like, why does her name look so familiar? Like, but it was her. So what are some of the lessons you learned in therapy?
I think the biggest lesson for me was like sitting with my feelings. That made me like, I don't know if that's therapy talk, I don't know, but like really sitting with my feelings.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel how you feel, but don't wallow in them.
Yes, that is a good point.
In the feelings,
that is a good point, because some people.
Very good point. She helped me with, and that's when mindfulness was first introduced to me. Yeah. Now I'm not some mindfulness queen, okay. I'm not queen of mindfulness, but that was the first time she introduced it to me, and she taught me about just kind of sit with them, acknowledge them. I self-doubt a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like, is there any rationale for this thought, or is this you just, for lack of a better term, doing the most, Jessica? Like, you know?
Yeah. I can say that was one thing I learned in therapy too, to just make sure you're not making it about you. Because sometimes we kind of like make stuff about ourselves, and it's like, well, maybe the person was busy, or maybe had other stuff to do. And she was good with reminding me of that.
Yeah, and I did a lot of that, like post breakup. I internalized a lot of stuff, and I'm like, this is because of me. She's like, no. You sat here and told me XYZ. This is not because of you. This is something out of your control. And I had to learn that too. Like, do what's within your control. That's about them. This is about you. Focus on that.
Yeah. And I think another point that you made was about allowing ourselves to feel how we feel. Because sometimes we don't do that. We just kind of like, oh, okay, that's whatever, brush it off, keep it going. And then those feelings just start to build like every day. Like, oh, I'm feeling sad. Now I'm full blown depressed, or I'm angry and I'm about to have a whole tantrum out here in these streets.
And you know what? You're gonna get it. I don't even know you, but you're gonna get it because I'm angry.
Yeah, I'm mad, and I ain't even mad at you. I'm mad at something that happened like a week ago. Like, you just mad.
Exactly.
Just mad.
No, you absolutely right. And you know, like, I think like when she told me, you know, like she helped me see things in a different way, but I was really invested. And I will say that's a big part of therapy is be ready to be invested. You know, it's a journey. Some people fall off and get back up and go back, but like I consistently went, and I was just dedicated to myself in the process because I really wanted to feel better. and I needed to understand some things. And therapy really helped me understand a lot of different things that I was just like, wow, I would have never thought about it in this way until I spoke to somebody, about it.
Yeah, therapy is a personal investment. I don't think people realize that. And most of the time, people have mental health benefits on their insurance. They just don't know about them.
We all got it. And in light of everything that's been going on, all the tragedies that have happened, everything going on, like,
yeah. But people, the concept of investing in ourselves is kind of like a foreign concept, especially in the African American community. I don't know about anybody else's community, but sometimes it's like a foreign concept. Like they're like, what? Do this for 2 years or do this for a year? No, I'm not doing that.
And the way people think about investing in themselves is probably different than going. It's you don't immediately think about therapy.
Yeah.
We think
we think about the other stuff, the dieting, the exercising, the school, going to school. We think about, I don't know, getting a car. Like that's an investment. But thinking about therapy, it's like, ooh, I don't want to do that. Or I don't want to tell that person my life story. Especially with our older, seasoned people, they don't want to hear about therapy.
Yeah, I have to understand that, and I have to respect people's feelings.
Yeah.
And just because I was open, I can't expect the next person to be open or as open as me.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, I liked the thought of going to somebody who knew nothing about me and just laying it out on the table.
Mm-hmm. It's a good feeling. Just lay everything. Just lay it all out.
It was a good feeling for me. And she was neutral. She wasn't like, I'm taking this side, I'm taking that side. Like she was neutral, and she made me feel very comfortable.
Yeah, she would tell you in a minute, like, I don't think that's a good idea. But if you want to do it, go ahead.
Yeah. And one thing I appreciate that she did, I want to say within our last couple of sessions, she read something back to me, and I remember like wrinkling my face up. I was like, who said that? She was like, you. I was like, I would never say that. She was like, I wrote this down word for word. And so that helped me see how far I had come. Because from whenever I said that to the end, it was like my mindset had changed. At one point in therapy, I was like, I can't focus on losing weight until I figure out all this other stuff. Like it's like my mental health was just it was affecting everything. I was diabetic. I didn't want to die from diabetes, and people die. They have health issues from diabetes, and it's completely preventable, most of it. So therapy, honestly, in a way, it saved my life because I was heavy. I needed to lose weight, and I had told myself that until I figured this out. And that probably was the wrong thing to do. And I ended up doing it, working my mental health and my weight at the same time. But because I didn't know what was going on initially, I couldn't focus on my health, which was very important. And therapy helped me get in a headspace to be able to focus on, my physical health.
Yeah. Therapy is a game changer. I feel like everybody should go to therapy at least once in their life.
Say it again. Say it again. And hopefully it's a good therapist, because I've heard some stories.
Yeah, some people do. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Because
I think the big thing for me when I went to therapy is that she taught me about the mind-body connection, and that you need to like listen to your body and listen to your brain at the same time. I said, well, this is hard.
That is very hard.
This is hard work, sis.
Like, do you do it?
Like, this is hard work. Because I was so I had started in April of last year, maybe like March or April. And then we had maybe like 1 or 2 sessions together. Maybe, no, it might have been like a month, maybe like 3 or 4.
Okay.
And then I had a session scheduled. And then it was one week I was like, hey, girl, I got to cancel. I'm in the hospital. And she was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, long story, sis, long story. But when I came back, she was like, you really need to focus on the mind-body connection. Like, if you're not feeling well, then go to the doctor or whatever. And I was like, see, you just helped me out. I love Shonda.
She was the best. Honestly, I want to go back, and I credit her, well, the process, because I just finished undergrad. I knew I wanted to get my master's, wasn't sure what, but I knew I wanted to go back to school. That was another thing. I was just like, it was all over the place.
Yeah.
And between my job working with homeless women and seeing that she was a licensed clinical social worker, I was like, I think social work is where I want to be. And that's how I ended up choosing social work. And your girl is
a social worker.
Yes, I take my licensing exam in November, so I'll be
I'm here for it.
Social worker. Thank you, girl. Thank you.
Yeah.
So like that whole process helped me with so much. So I am forever grateful. And I'm not just saying, I'm really forever grateful for the 2 years that I spent in therapy and getting to know myself a little better. And it's an everyday struggle. Like, it's not like I'm fixed, fixed or anything like that. Like, it's an everyday struggle because I have my own personal, things that I go through. And like I said, I allow myself to really sit in my feelings, but I try my best not to go down that rabbit hole because I know where it leads to.
Yeah, it leads to disaster.
Depression.
All of it. Yeah, I think that I lost my train of thought while you were talking. It was about therapy, and that's what it is. Therapy.
Conversations about therapy.
I know, but I had the thought when you were talking, and it just went. But no, I think that people fail to realize that therapy not only helps one area of your life, but it helps multiple areas. Like, helps you with your finances. It can help you with setting boundaries. People don't have boundaries these days. Setting boundaries help you with relationships. It just helps every area of your life. And you don't even realize it until you probably oh, this really did help me with all areas of my life.
Yes. Dating. I want to highlight dating because I was dating throughout I would say mid therapy to the end, the first dating, it helped me set boundaries, and I still have to work on boundaries, but you're not going to treat me like that, sir.
Okay. Tell the people. Tell them.
Restored in therapy, the weight loss, me feeling better about myself, helped me, learn how to date better. It's not okay to just let people do and say anything to you. Therapy helped me realize that.
Exactly. Therapy is like a one-stop shop. It just helps you with everything.
Hashtag therapy.
Hashtag go to therapy. That's what we do.
Yes.
Go to therapy and go get a journal because y'all just be saying whatever on the social media streets.
Lord.
They do. I'll be like, this is not meant for social media. No.
But you know what? In this age, and we're millennials, aren't we millennials?
We are millennials.
But I don't put all my business out there on Facebook. It's just something about I just don't feel comfortable, but I will write stuff down. And I'm not a consistent journaler. I don't think that's a word, but we're going to say it's a word. I don't consistently journal.
Yeah.
But I have these moments where I just have to dump all my feelings out onto paper. It could be after a shower, I don't feel like writing. I'll do a voice recorder. I'll just dump all my feelings out. Excuse me. Because it's sometimes you just gotta get it out. I don't let anything stay in, even if I don't say it to somebody.
Yeah, one of my coworker just told me about that last week about doing a voice recording. Instead of journaling, they used to do voice recordings, and I was like, oh,
it's convenient. Right in the bed. It's your phone out. Let it out.
Record. I need to start doing that.
It helps, and then you go back and listen to yourself you were.
I said that. I said that.
Right.
Why did I say that? No.
But that it helps. It kind of creates like maybe like a timeline, and you can make a lot of different connections too. Like, why were you this way on this day? Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm more of a journaler. And then when I was in therapy, she had said you should start like journaling the process, like journaling therapy and things that you learn in therapy. I didn't do it as consistently, but I do it now, like almost like 2-3 times a week. But I'm not a big voice recorder person, but I probably should start doing it.
You have a whole podcast.
Well, that's so before I started the podcast, I didn't like hearing my voice at all.
It's very comforting, soothing almost.
But now since I started the podcast, I'm like, oh, I got a nice voice or whatever. Or no, I ain't like it. But now I like it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share about your journey with therapy?
I think that's about it. I mean, I want to go back.
I mean, you can. Like,
I can go back.
Oh, I can't hear you anymore. I don't. Yeah, I can't hear you anymore. I don't know what just happened.
My connection said unstable.
So you were talking. I was like, she talking, but I can't hear nothing.
I don't know the last thing you heard, but I have 2 jobs.
You got 2 jobs?
I got 2 jobs.
Well, we can have a conversation after this one.
Yes, I got 2 jobs. And one of those jobs is it can be a very stressful job. It's notoriously known for being super stressful. Child welfare, I'll just put it out there. It's child welfare.
Oh, yeah, child welfare is stressful.
And I'm still in training. And one of the interview questions they asked me was, how do you self-care?
Mm-hmm.
And I figured they asked me that because of the nature of the job. And I was really shocked because I've never been asked that on an interview.
Yeah.
But, the point I'm trying to make is there doesn't necessarily have to be something wrong for you to go to therapy. Mm-hmm. We put that whole crazy, like you have to be crazy to go to therapy. No. So I do plan to seek therapy again, especially with having that job. And I work on an inpatient psych unit, and it just is stressful.
That sounds stressful, Jessica. I'm gonna need you to. That sounds stressful.
I haven't started the child welfare job yet. I'm training, but inpatient psych, that's where I spent like 7 months of my last internship for school. Oh. So I'm kind of used to it, but it's very fast paced, and it's
yeah, because you have patients leaving, patients going, patients coming and going all the time. Well,
I plan to seek therapy again, so don't have to be crazy to seek therapy.
Like one of my coworkers, again, because we're all therapists, duh. She said she had went for like 6 months or so. And then she was going through like a transition period of like starting with us. So she went back to therapy again just to like talk through some things. And then now she's like finished. So.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't have to be long drawn out. Like, it's not about sitting on a couch and talking to somebody and, it just goes on unless you need that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, it just depends on like where you are in life and how long, you and your therapist think you need in therapy. Like it could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be 2 years, it could be a year and then go back for another year.
Yeah,
it depends.
But it will always be somebody there, so reach out.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Jessica, for coming on the show.
Absolutely. I love talking about therapy.
I know, because you was telling me about therapy back at Advantage.
Go to therapy. You go to therapy. Everybody needs to go to therapy.
They do. Just go to therapy and get your life, like Tamar Braxton says, and get it together. Mm-hmm. Well, I hope this episode has helped you guys. And this is another episode of the Mentally Whole Podcast.